Hello and welcome. Have not done a pre-recorded video for quite a while, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. It's not normally something that I have been doing recently, but there's just this message. I believe two of them that are coming through the ether, and I'm just not ready to go live yet, so we're gonna channel them without any interruptions or with anybody, just take what resonates, okay, people? Something that we normally haven't been really doing on the channel. So I feel like that's of significant importance. Maybe something that you haven't been doing, you might want to start doing again or something. Let's see. All right, divine timing and step back. Step back to allow divine timing. Allow the universe to show you something. Have the patience. Sexual chemistry and karmic relationship. Uh-oh. Okay, so there might be this karmic coming back into your life. And normally I would say be careful about karmic relationships, because usually those are the ones that come into your life because there are lessons that you still need to learn. There are triggers that are still setting you off. There's some closure issues still. There's something that you're unable to let go. So it's like somebody, two karmics coming together instead of being alone and really setting their mind straight. They get into relationship and they put something on their plate again and they disregard the thing that they need to start working on, and then they'll just start doing something new again. Okay, so it could be, especially with the chemistry card, it's like these two people might have been very much addicted to each other in some way. Okay, so normally that would be a red flag. Okay, so what's the advice here? Okay, so we did get the red flag card. And that's why I'm like, this seems like a really big red flag. Okay, there's lightning. And then we have the House of Cards, separation, love, and date. Okay, so. Okay, I believe that this is some type of test. I feel like it's a test. I feel like an ex is going to come back into your life, or try to get back into your life, that you had a very intense relationship with. Full of triggers, by the way. Just full of triggers and red flags. But they're going to try to come back. And that's your test, is if you have learned or not. Have you learned from the past and to walk away from people like that don't serve you right? Or because you're bored, right, and you're waiting for divine timing, you think, oh, okay, well, they're lining me up with this person again. I don't really want to be single anymore. I'll just date them and see if they've changed. Okay, if this was a very red flag relationship in the past, the thing is if you have done your work to get rid of those red flags and those triggers and some of that, turmoil you went through, there is a huge possibility that this person has gotten over it too. Okay. So there's a vibe that, like, if you have done it, then also believe that others are capable of doing it too. Whether or not this one in particular did it for sure, I don't know. But I do feel like if something has changed, if you take a chance on them after this long separation and you decide, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to try to date them again, or I'm going to at least, because I mean, you can figure out a lot about a person in one conversation. You really can. If you've done the work, you could meet up with this person. Please do it somewhere public just to be safe. Okay. You could meet them somewhere and within 5 minutes know if they're full of shit or not. Right. Because their words will match their life. And if they're only speaking to you and they're saying that they have made changes, but you don't know them anymore because you're not a part of their life, then the only way that you would be able to figure it out is if you met them and really saw if what they were saying was true or not. Okay. So as much as there are red flags here, it's weird because the red flags could be a part of the past that they have changed, right? That they've had some type of epiphany about. That's the lightning card. Transformation, epiphany. All right. There's almost like this sudden urgency to change or to move or to do something. This person might get a sudden, oh my gosh, maybe I was the red flag and they were the white flag, but I deemed them the red flag because it was such an intense connection that it might have brought out some of the more addictive sides of somebody than the loving sides of somebody. And now with the love, I feel like that is probably going to be a huge role in this now. It's not so much going to be the physical, passionate turmoil relationship. It's going to be the more understanding, more receptive, more let's take this one step at a time and allow, maybe that's the divine timing, allow time to do its thing for once. Maybe before you rushed the relationship and you rushed in and you moved in with them right away and you made a life with them right away. You could have had a kid with them right away, got married with them right away. And in some aspect, I think something was moved quite quickly. And that could have been the pressure. There was some type of pressure that was added to the relationship. Okay. And that's when people start dating and then they put all of these like responsibilities on top of the relationship suddenly, like they get a dog really quick, they get married really quick, they buy a house really quick, they start a business really quick, they do something with this urgency and it's almost like to lock it down because they know it's not the right energy, right? So if they lock it down, then at least they'll have to stay, right? Because they're in a situation where they can't just leave, right? So I do feel like sometimes that is the move of a very desperate person that does that. Not necessarily it's the wrong move, but it definitely is rushed, I feel like, because of some type of desperation or need to do something quick, right? Is sometimes not in the best interest of any of the energy, right? Because you're rushing something. And we know when we rush things, we don't get the best outcome all the time, right? Because it's not built with time, or over time with skilled people that want to watch it evolve, right? This is something that somebody just they wanted to change something really quick or something happened really quick. And now maybe they're possibly thinking it's going to happen that way again. Okay. But I don't know. Look at karmic relationship is on the bottom of the deck. Okay. So this definitely is somebody that you keep running into, okay, from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. There is something that the both of you share. There's something that you learn from each other. It might not be a picture perfect relationship, but it's something that could possibly be for somebody to teach them how to let go and how to leave their triggers behind. Okay. And live in the moment and love and accept it and trust it. Okay. With love, there has to be a lot of trust. Okay. Mirror. And then there's the, mirroring each other, self-image, relationships reflect our wounds, introspection. So I really do feel like somebody has taken a long look at themselves. Okay, looked at the man in the mirror, looked at the woman in the mirror, okay, and maybe started to realize a lot more things about the way that you guys were versus the triggers and the karma. Right? This person might have been like, man, they're a little bit more like me than what I gave them credit for, right? They're a little bit more we reflect each other a little bit more than possibly what they were able to admit in the past. And that could have just been the karma between the two of you. Somebody might be very thick-headed, very hard-headed. They could be the crow aspect of this, and you are the owl, and you are trying to teach them wisdom, and you're trying to teach them how to hunt. You're trying to teach this crow a different way. And at the same time, the crow is teaching the owl a different way, right? It's not the best relationship, but it's a relationship that might work for you. It might be something that is a give and take between the both of you. And it doesn't matter if people see two different birds, two different perspectives, two different people. It's what you bring to the table together. It's an understanding between the two of you. Why the fuck does it matter how everybody else sees it? Okay. So yeah, there might've been red flags between you, and you guys might've had a very tumultuous relationship, up and down, the waves, the storms, the fights, right? But that's also a connection between two very old souls that, again, might be breaking the barrier of the bullshit that you were both possibly born into, right? You both might have really broke the family molds, right? And didn't do what your family did, or if you did do along the lines of what your family did, you didn't do the same thing that they did. You found your own way to do it. And that's why your family can't understand possibly what this relationship could ever do for you, but you've never been somebody they understood anyways. So that means that you were always living with spirit. You were always doing things that you really want, unpredictable, right? Not maybe your family's very predictable. Maybe they do the same things generation after generation, right? And you're completely opposite. Okay. And that's what you can see in this other person. It doesn't really matter if it's karmic or not. Karmic means that it keeps happening over and over again. And you might be brought into this world as different units, so then you can point out the red flags, right? So something can be done about it. So then you can give them the news. Hey, by the way, you know that you're a product of doing this. You know that when you get angry, you tend to do this. Somebody that calls them out for their bullshit, right? Somebody that won't let them act a certain way like everybody else does, right? It's a risk. But that's what love is, right? It's unconditional. It's being able to understand what somebody's going through and not judge them for it, but help them through it. Not everybody was raised the same. Not everybody was taught the same values, taught the same morals, taught the same way, right? Like, yes, it all kind of seems like we were all brainwashed into something, but everybody's family morals and generational codes that they bring in are different from other people's, right? That's why we have families. Those are our communities. We have different last names for a reason, right? Cassette. Outdated thinking, conditioning, replaying events over in your head. See, and this was kind of in reverse. And that's why I'm like, man, this person or the two of you really might have been outdated, right? And that's why you're here to teach each other things, because you are so outdated that one person, the crow, went out and got all of its wisdom, and the owl went out and got all of its wisdom. And then when they met up, they had two totally different worlds to bring together. Okay. That is I'm getting goosebumps. That is not a red flag to me. It might, but again, it might look like a red flag to everybody else. But it's because they're a product of conditioning. They're a product of outdated thinking. Okay? Thinking. I might have said thinking. Which would be conditioned thinking. Okay? I always put words together. And I make the most awesomest words sometimes. Oh, I made up this word the other day, and I was just saying a sentence, and then I just put two words together, and my sister was like, you should put that in the dictionary. And I was like, that is the perfect word. And obviously it always leaves me because it's just, it's just for you to enjoy. But we have Heart with a Key, the Grim Reaper, and Heartbroken. Okay, so you seem to be the person, and they seem to be the person that carried the keys to each other. Okay, and you both needed to very much transform your lives, and now you're coming back together because you're feeling lost without each other. So you've been out in the world now and getting this next huge piece of information, and now you're going to bring it back together again. Okay, it is obviously quite heartbreaking when you're separated from this person. That's why I'm like, yes, there are a lot of red flags that have to do with this, but the red flags, like you might have triggered red flags that this person is designed to help break the mold with you through and really help your outdated thinking of this is how I'm supposed to react to things and this is how I'm supposed to be with certain things. And they're like, this is a whole different world over here. Like, you don't have to react like that if you don't want to. Nothing is going to happen, right? Because there could be a lot of things that happen, but it's not the same result, but it's the same kind of trigger. Like, you think something's going to happen, and then this person's like, I'm not like that. I'm not going to do that. This isn't that same situation. You might have that trigger, but it's not them necessarily pulling it out of you. It's them trying to cure it out of you, right? Because they're going to show you something different. They're going to show you this other world. Wow. Two people come together with totally different worlds. Okay. So take it if it resonates and discard it if it doesn't. And we have the personal readings going on right now. Check out the about section, obviously. And we are going to be cranking up those reading prices very shortly. Okay, so jump on that cheap train if you want. And if not, then forever hold your peace and the funds will be increased. I kind of feel like that rhymed just a little bit. Anyways, whitneymoonshine@gmail.com is how you get in touch with me. I do have Instagram streaming and I do have TikTok streaming. So you can check that out if you want in the about section. And if not, just enjoy the freeness of the channel. Make sure you send in your telepathic questions my way so that I can answer them for you when you are ready to receive the answer. All right, peace out. Have a good one. Take care.